Good morning, listeners, and welcome back to the Internet Marketing and Business Solutions radio show with Ronald Couming, where we help business owners and entrepreneurs achieve even greater success by attracting, converting, and retaining their ideal customers and clients using various Internet marketing methods and techniques. This is part 2 of an interview with Anil Gupta. Part 1 is something you definitely want to listen to. It sets up a lot of information that will lead into part 2 here, episode 2. However, we will recap briefly in the beginning and then move on to the rest of this episode. To give you an idea of who Anil Gupta is, in case you were unable to listen to part 1, Anil is an electrifying catalyst of profound change who has devoted his life to helping people rise out of pain and blockage into overflowing abundance, happiness, and fulfillment. He has a gift for identifying blocks and patterns that are keeping a person stuck and uses his intuitive gifts to reconnect people with their spirit, truth, and life's purpose. Anil wakes up people's soul to live a richer, fuller life and utilize and ultimately to realize their greatness. Anil, how are you?
Yeah, I'm fantastic. Thank you for the great introduction.
Thank you. You're a great person. Not hard. In episode 1, we had talked, we got a bit about your history. I'm just going to recap so that if the listeners were unable to hear part 1, and I encourage you to go back and listen to part 1, it's going to be on YouTube, and it will also be archived on my website, RCS Technology Solutions. Go to the Media tab. Second option down is the radio show, and this episode and all episodes will be there. In the first one, we talked about your history, how you got to where you are briefly. I mean, it's probably a lot more than that. And then you also talked about the 3 Gs, the giving, gratitude, and growing, and the need to figure out where you are with each of those, and then figure out whichever one is you're at the lowest point and work the most on that to bring that up. And from there, I'd like to just kind of turn the interview or platform over to you and just let you speak.
Fantastic. You spoke about some of your expectations, that you had some lofty expectations. So in life, we all have expectations, and the more expectations you have in life, the more problems you'll have. So the quality of your life is dependent on the number of expectations that you have. The less expectations that you have, the better the quality of life that you will experience. And it's very, very powerful that just knowing that one thing, we have an expectation that our children should get up in the morning, that they should behave, that they should eat their food, that they should be obedient, that they should be joyful when they go to school, and that they should perform at school. So you see how many expectations we have of our kids. Then if you add or compound that with the expectations that we have for our family members, our spouses, our parents, it becomes very, very difficult and very painful. So just be aware of the expectations and ask yourself, can I let this one go? Is it that important that my child gets up with at the right time? Can I just let that go? Isn't it more important that they just wake up, that they're alive and vibrant and joyous, and that I have the pleasure of their company? So the more expectations you have, the more pain you will have in your life.
Wow. But, how can somebody with their expectations, whether it's business or personal, and maybe they call them goals opposed to expectations, is there a difference between expectations and goals?
Well, at the end of the day, it's okay to have expectations, it's okay to have goals, but the pain comes when you're attached to the result. So if you expect that, you want to earn $10,000 this month, or you have a goal of wanting to earn $10,000 this month, and you don't reach that goal, and then if you get very upset, it means you're attached to the result. And again, the quality of your life is dependent on the number and depth of the attachments that you hold. So if you let go of the attachments, you let go of the expectations. And I'm not saying don't have goals. What I'm saying is reduce the number of goals, reduce the number of expectations, and don't be attached. So when you don't meet that $10,000 goal, you can reassess and readjust and then put more energy into it. So it's a call to action rather than a call to be unhappy. It's a call for you to step up and find out how you can get things done.
I love it. So it's kind of like a matter of perception. Let's say you set a goal of 10,000 and you reached 8,500. One, if you focus that you didn't make that 10,000, making 8,500 is, still a lot more than most people did. It wasn't your ultimate number, but it was still very good. And by not realizing that, it takes the joy. You don't appreciate, you don't have gratitude for what you did achieve. So sometimes it's a matter of perception too. So, and I like the way you spun it. If your goal was 10 and you only made 8 or whatever the case may be, if you look at that as, well, instead of, damn, I didn't make it, but if you look at that and say, well, how come I didn't make it? What can I do better to improve so next month I'm closer to my goal, or I actually achieve and or exceed it? I like that. So it is really a matter of perception. It's not so a matter of what it is. Am I correct? It's about the perception that we put on it or around it.
Yeah, that's correct. And the thing is, once you remove the attachment, you can look at it as it really is, instead of making up stories that you're not good enough, you're not smart enough, there's something wrong with you, you're stupid, why didn't you get it done? You can step back and say, you know what? I could have done this, 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 and this. That's what I'm going to do next time, so let's see what happens. So it gives you that objectivity that you're sadly lacking, and it removes the attachment, it removes the pain, so that you can still celebrate the victory and have a great time and a great life.
Yeah, I really do. I love it. And that whole thought process, I mean, I remember one time taking it off of business. I remember one time I was driving from one part of New Hampshire to another part, and it was kind of a long ride. I was going from Lincoln to Mount Washington. And the ride there, I was so focused on the destination and the time that it took to get there that it really wasn't enjoyable. I could feel myself pretty tense. My wife at the time, who was with me, and I'm sure she could feel it. So it took some of the joy. It's such a beautiful ride. It's the Kangamangas Highway, and it's like one of the most beautiful places, especially when foliage is there. But on the way back, I thought about, I wasn't stressed. I wasn't thinking about, I have to get there at a certain time or it's going to close or whatever the case was at the time. We got back and it seemed like, wow, it was so quick on the way back. And I actually saw the things that I was passing, and I actually had conversations, and I was laughing and joking with my wife. So when I didn't focus on the destination and I just kind of like focused on the journey, or I was in the moment, I had so much more happiness. But maybe even more important than that is the people around me also were happier. I didn't affect them in a way that kind of took away from them. So is that helpful at all?
It's very true. And what the beautiful thing is, once your vibrational energy changes as you show up in the world at a different energy, and this will happen once you do the 3 Gs, you will start to change, and the people around you will start to change. I remember a time I was living in London, and I would go to America on vacation. I thought, oh, my God, this is so much fun. The people are so nice. Then I would come home, and I thought, oh, the people here are miserable. What's wrong with them? And I thought, Anil, it can't be them. Then I looked in the mirror, and I thought, oh, no, it's you. Because when I went on vacation, I became a different person. When I came home, I became this miserable guy that was, working in the rain and gray skies. But when I was out in the sun, I changed. But I realized that if I changed at home, everything around me changed. And that's what happened. So I just changed who I became. And that's the secret. It's not what happens in life. It's who do you become. In that moment that I was suicidal, I became this unstoppable ninja warrior that will move, touch, and inspire anyone who comes in his way. So, ladies and gentlemen, today, right now, who are you going to become? Are you going to become strong, powerful, this caring, loving machine that you know that you are? Of course you are, and you can. And today would be a great time to start.
This is so powerful, and it's we only have an hour with you, or in radio time, I think it's like 48 minutes because of commercials and stuff. The listeners have to reach out to you and read your material and go to your website, can you give them your address again? We still have, another 14 minutes, but I want people to be able to reach out to you.
Sure. My website is immediatehappiness.com. My Instagram is Immediate Happiness, and my Facebook is Immediate Happiness too. And I promise you, if you just go on my website, you'll get amazing free content that will move, touch, and inspire you. And the secret to living is giving. So give yourself this gift. And if you start to change, I promise you, everybody around you starts to change. It's the greatest gift you can give yourself.
Excellent. And just to let the listeners know, Anil speaks around the world. Episode 1, we kind of covered that, but he speaks around the world. He is a sought-after presenter on these subjects, and he's spoken at Richard Branson's Nectar Island, which is invite only, in several conferences that I myself have been at, but then, way up there. So you're really getting exposed to a highly sought-after speaker here. In the first episode, we talked about the 3 Gs, and maybe we could recap them briefly and then go into the 2 we didn't cover, because the listeners of this episode may not, on the rerun, on archived, might not have listened to the first. So the first we had giving, gratitude, and growing. We kind of covered giving a little bit. Maybe if you could talk of anything else you have to say about giving, but then growing and gratitude and anything else you'd like to cover.
Sure. So let me just recap. The happiness and fulfillment formula is this: H equals G cubed. The first G is you have to give. The second G is you have to be grateful. And the third G is you have to grow. So we covered giving. Let's talk about gratitude. So I would ask everybody to write down 10 things that they're grateful for. So, Ron, give me 3 things you're grateful for.
You in my life.
Thank you.
Truthfully, I mean, you've been a blessing. Every time we speak, I just feel so much better. But I have to tell you, I'm so grateful at the opportunities in my life. I'm so grateful with the people in my life. I can specifically my father, for one. I mean, he's my best friend. He's been a supporter forever. I'm so grateful for my health, and I'm grateful for my mind. My mind has opened me up. My mind has prevented me from achieving the success I wanted because I didn't utilize the tools that are available to me. But on the flip side, my mind has also allowed me to see those tools and now avail myself of those tools and, exceed, in happiness and in life beyond, if you had asked me 20 years ago that I'd be at this level, I would have thought you were crazy. So, I think I'm very grateful for the mind. And, you talked about the hands, but so I could probably give you 20 things. My health, my mind, my family.
Fantastic. And when I coach my clients, I ask them to write down 50 things that they're grateful for, even 100 things. And as they start writing these things that they're grateful for down, their physiology changes, how they show up changes, and they have a different feeling. So one person I'm grateful to is Steve Martin, the comedian, actor. And he said one sentence that changed my life, and he said this: "Be so great that you cannot be ignored." And I started doing that, and it allowed me to meet very famous people, allowed me to serve at a much higher level. Then I added something else: be so great that you cannot be ignored, and if you are ignored, it doesn't matter. So if you show up as this unstoppable, beautiful soul, if you step up to the level that you know that you can step up, if you became unstoppable, if you started serving, you will get magical results, absolutely magical results.
I couldn't agree even more. Now, I don't remember. I listened to Steve Martin, but that exact quote, I don't remember. But I have heard other people say that. And when I stopped looking at people I do business with as just clients, and I started looking to serve people, how many people can I serve this year? How many people can I serve this month? Not only did my conversation change, but the people I actually served tripled. because the mindset that I came into the conversation with, the mindset of the service and the product I delivered was from a place of service opposed to just worrying about the paycheck at the end of the week or month. So, yeah, I mean, coming from a place of service doesn't mean that you're, as you know, one thing you could do certainly is go to a soup kitchen and serve. That's the most basic, example. But serving the people with your greatness, whatever your gift is, that also is serving people. Am I correct?
It is, and it's just being unstoppable. And the secret is you have to remove you from the equation. As soon as you think of you, that's when the pain and suffering starts. As soon as you remove you from the equation, in the moment you give, there is no pain and suffering. And that's a really big secret that I noticed when I was going through my difficult period. In the moment you give authentically, there is no pain and there is no suffering.
I love it. These are gems. And I also know, like, as not so much support, but another example to illustrate to the listeners, sometimes, people hear things and there's a theoretical application, and to take it into a practical application, sometimes tying it together with an example makes it a little bit easier. But I know when I was giving presentations, I was so nervous because I wanted to make sure I said this, I said that, I delivered this, that, the audience got that from me. But it was all really about me. And when I tie that into what you just said, when I took me out of the equation, and I thought, this really has nothing to do with me. I give this presentation because I want the audience to take something away from it. And when I focused on giving the audience something that was of value and something that they could understand, but it was about them, it was no longer about me, I had no more fear of public speaking.
Yeah, it's very powerful. And the repercussions is so powerful because it compounds on itself. One thing leads to another, which could have never even happened. So one small thing. So let me give you an example. My son stayed at a hotel in Chicago that was just built by a gentleman. My son and I went to Necker Island, and my son approached this gentleman whose name was Richard Branson and made a suggestion about his hotel. Mr. Branson invited myself and my son to the grand opening of the hotel. I met someone at the hotel who ran a radio show in the morning, the next morning. And that radio show was on Fox News. I've been a guest speaker on her show twice, and I've got an open invitation to come back. And at that hotel, I met some other people. I met the CEO of Delta Airlines. So I'll give you a story. My son and I were speaking to him, and he said, "Would you like to take a photo?" And we said, "Sure." So he grabbed my son's drink and put it on the floor. We took the photo. But this is what he did next. He picked up my son's drink and gave it to him. That, to me, was a class act. He was very giving. He was grateful that we spent some time with him. And we all grew in that moment because I saw that this guy is a leader. How many CEOs would ever do that?
Yeah, that's true. And also, you speak about Richard Branson. I was at an event in Chicago. Surprisingly, you just mentioned Chicago. This was at the Sage Summit in Chicago last July, and Richard Branson was...
I was there. I was the speaker there, too.
Yeah, okay, and that was cool. But one thing similar to what you said, he said a lot of things that I found. Also, how he started Virgin Atlantic, how great things come from necessity or need, and how he started the whole airline because he was in Puerto Rico, wanted to get to St. Croix to meet the woman he eventually went on to marry, had a flight. Yeah. They wouldn't take him because they felt there wasn't enough people, even though they paid to justify the expense of the gas and stuff. Rented an airplane, took everybody else who was waiting and went, and then the next day he called Boeing, and so that was a tremendous story. But one thing he said that got me, and it ties into what you just said, is I think it was him or someone, I believe it was him, he was walking through, he has a division that is putting rockets and sending people out into space. And he was walking through the facility, and he stopped and asked the person who was sweeping the floor, a janitor, and asked him, what do you do here, meaning in the business. And the janitor had turned to him and said, "I'm helping put a man on the moon." I mean,
wow.
When people, yeah, that's so powerful. And it, I don't know if I'm conveying the value of that to the listeners, but when you're in an organization and, everybody in that organization is tied into, that whole result, but that doesn't come by accident. That comes from incredible leadership, that even somebody who is, his role in the facility is, maybe sweeping the floor and taking the trash out, their mindset is not that they're taking the trash out and they're sweeping the floor. Their mindset is that they are part of the process of the end result. And to me, that is a massive kudos to the leadership and the whole mission and vision of the business all being tied in from the top down.
Absolutely. And, the secret is to be inspiring. And I urge all your listeners today, go inspire someone, inspire yourself, inspire your family. Go do something amazing today and really be part of the change that's happening all over the world. And if, say, people ask you what you do, say, I'm helping to transform the world. How cool is that?
I love it. Unfortunately, as amazing as this might sound, our hour is up. We have 3 minutes left. Please, within that 3 minutes, we've gotten your contact info a couple of times. If you want to give that again, you can. It will also be in the description. But other than that, if you want to tie stuff up, give us some gems.
Sure. My contact details are Anil at immediatehappiness.com. My Instagram is Immediate Happiness. My Facebook is Immediate Happiness. And if you text happy at 21777, you'll get some free content. And I want to give you something that will change your life. So today, perform 5 random acts of kindness. Today, write down 10 things you're grateful for. And today, ask what you can let go of. If someone hurt you, someone has hurt you in some way, just let that go. And I promise you, these 3 things will totally transform your life today.
Okay, that was 5 random acts of kindness, and that could be opening a door, saying hi, somebody's having a bad day, smile at them, 10 things you're grateful for, and what was the third?
See if there's any part of any person in your life that you can let go or forgive. And if you need any help with that, just email me at Anil, ANIL, at immediatehappiness.com, because forgiveness is the express pathway to freedom.
I love it. We have the 3 Gs, and then we have this here on the way out. And if you remember, I believe it's text HAPPY, HAPPY, to 21777, and they will receive some information, some good stuff.
Absolutely. You'll get, I think, a download of my book, and you can do this happiness test where you'll find out how happy you really are, and it's very, very powerful.
Ladies and gentlemen, Anil Gupta is a tremendous human being. He is helping people all over the world. I don't think you could possibly understand just how great this interview was, but once you get to his website, which he's given you, as well as the text, happy at 2177, you'll see that for yourself. Take time, check him out. You're going to be grateful you did. You've been listening to Ron Couming on the Internet Marketing and Business Solutions radio show with Ron Couming from RCS Technology Solutions and RCS Online Solutions, where we help business owners and entrepreneurs achieve even greater success by attracting, converting, and retaining their ideal customers and clients. Thanks, everyone.